The beast in chains. The marketplace of the alien city was loud with voices, traders shouting and children running, but in the center of it all stood a cage, a giant cage made of thick metal bars that glowed with strange energy. Inside it was the creature everyone feared, the alien beast. It was massive, its body covered with dark scales that looked sharp like broken glass. Its claws dug into the stone floor. Its mouth was filled with teeth long and curved. Every time it breathed, smoke rose from its nostrils. The crowd gathered to look at it, some with fear, some with anger. "They say it must be sacrificed," whispered an old alien woman to her neighbor. "It brings curses if it lives too long." The neighbor nodded quickly, clutching her child close. "The beast is evil. It killed our hunters years ago. The gods demand its blood." But not everyone agreed, and one of them was the human. He stood at the edge of the crowd, taller than many of the aliens around him, his face calm, his eyes locked on the creature inside the cage. While others stepped back in fear, he stepped forward, curious. The beast turned its golden eyes toward him, and for a moment, something passed between them, something no one else noticed. The guards shouted, "Stay back, stranger, it is dangerous." They raised their spears, but the human ignored them, his gaze never leaving the beast. He saw something the others refused to see. Not rage, not madness, but sadness. The creature's eyes were not burning with hate, they were heavy with pain. The crowd threw stones at the cage to keep the beast roaring. The beast growled but did not attack. Instead, it sank lower to the ground, chained so tightly it could barely move, its wings folded, its head low. The human felt his chest tighten. How long had this creature been trapped like this, beaten and cursed, waiting only for death? The alien counselors arrived, dressed in long robes that shimmered in the sun. They raised their hands for silence. "Citizens," one of them said, his voice cold, "the day of sacrifice is near. The beast will die for the glory of the gods. Its blood will cleanse our city." The crowd cheered, clapping their hands, chanting for death. But the human did not cheer. His voice rose above theirs, steady and sharp. "This creature is not a monster," he said. "Look into its eyes. It suffers. It does not bring curses. It is your fear that blinds you." Gasps spread through the marketplace. Whispers ran fast. "The human dares to speak against the council. Is he mad? Does he want to curse us all?" The counselor narrowed his eyes. "You are not of our kind, human. You do not know our ways. Stand aside or face punishment." But the human did not move. He stepped even closer to the cage, his hand slowly reaching toward the bars. The guard shouted again, "Stop, it will rip you apart." The beast growled deep, its body tense, the chains rattling. The crowd held its breath. Would this foolish human die right in front of them? But the human did not flinch. He crouched low, his eyes level with the beast's, his voice soft now. "You're not what they say, are you?" The beast blinked slowly, its breathing heavy, and then something happened that no one expected. Instead of striking, instead of roaring, the beast pressed its massive head gently against the bars, right where the human's hand hovered. A shocked cry came from the crowd. "Impossible, it trusts him, no beast does that." The guards rushed forward, trying to pull the human away, but the counselor raised his hand, stopping them, his face pale, his eyes full of doubt for the first time. The human touched the beast, his fingers brushing over its scales, rough but warm. The beast let out a sound, not of anger, but of relief, a low rumble like a purr. The marketplace fell silent. No voice dared to break the moment, and in that silence fear began to change. Some in the crowd felt wonder, some felt jealousy, some felt terror. But all of them knew one thing. The human had done what no alien had ever dared. He touched the beast and it did not kill him. The counselor's voice broke the silence, trembling with forced anger. "This means nothing. The sacrifice will still happen. The beast will die, and so will any who try to stop." The guards dragged the human back, but his eyes stayed locked on the beast, and the beast's golden eyes followed him, glowing with a strange light, as if hope had just been born. The people went back to their work, but their whispers never stopped. What if the human is right? What if the beast is not a monster? And in the shadows, the beast lifted its head, higher than it had in years, its chains clinking, its gaze fixed on the one person who had not looked at it with hate, the human. For the first time, the beast did not feel alone. The morning sky over the alien city burned red, banners hung from tall stone towers, and drums echoed through the streets. It was the day the council would speak again, the day they promised the people that the beast would finally be sacrificed. Crowds filled the plaza, voices loud, chanting for blood. For the gods, for our safety, kill the beast. Their cries rose like fire. At the center stood the great cage, the beast, still chained, its head low, its wings folded tight. It had not moved since the human touched it the day before, but its golden eyes burned with a strange new light. The counselors stood on their platform, robed in silver and blue. Their leader, an old alien, with sharp horns, raised his arms for silence. Citizens, today we remind you, fear must be cut out. The beast's death will give us peace. The crowd cheered, their voices shaking the stones. But then a voice rose, clear, strong, and different. No, said the human, stepping forward through the crowd, his face unafraid, his voice steady. You are wrong. The cheering died into whispers. Aliens turned to stare, their eyes wide. The human again, does he not value his life? Does he want to anger the gods? The council leader narrowed his eyes. You dare stand against us, outsider? The human stood tall, his gaze sweeping over the people. I saw your beast yesterday, I touched it, I looked into its eyes, there was no evil, only pain, he said, his words cutting through the silence like a blade. You call it cursed, but what if you are wrong? What if you are killing something innocent? Gasps spread, fear and doubt tangled in the air. The guards moved quickly, pointing their spears at him. Silence, human, or we'll cut you down. But the human did not stop. His voice rose louder. You say this is for peace, but peace built on lies is not peace at all, he shouted. Look at your beast. It has been chained, starved, beaten, and yet it did not kill me. It let me touch. Ask yourselves why. The beast lifted its head at his words, its golden eyes locking on him. A deep sound rumbled from its chest, not a roar, but a sound like recognition, like it knew his voice. The crowd trembled. Some shouted, "It is a trick." Others whispered, "But what if it is true?" The council leader slammed his staff against the stone, his voice thundered, "Enough, you insult the gods. You spread poison among my people, guards. Seize him." The guards surged forward, their spears ready. But the human stood firm, his eyes never leaving the council leader. You fear the truth, he said coldly, because the truth will break. Your chains on these people. You keep them afraid so they never question you. The crowd stirred again, their voices uncertain now. Some looked at the council, then back at the human, and for the first time, doubt flickered in their faces. The guards grabbed the human, pulling his arms behind him, the spears pressed against his back, but even then he did not stop speaking, his words fierce. If you kill me, you prove I was right. If you kill the beast, you kill hope itself. The beast slammed its chained body against the cage, the ground shook, the people screamed. The guards tried to hold the human, but fear filled their eyes. The beast's roar tore through the sky, yet its golden eyes stayed locked on the human. The council leader shouted, "Hold the beast, kill the human now." But the crowd no longer cheered. They hesitated. Some backed away. Others watched with wide, confused eyes. The spell of blind obedience was breaking. The human spoke one last time, his voice echoing over the chaos. Look, not with fear, but with courage. See the truth with your own eyes, not the lies you've been fed. The guards dragged him away from the plaza, but the seed of doubt had been planted. Whispers spread faster than the council could silence them. That night, in the dark streets, people talked in hushed voices. The human is brave. Maybe he is right. Maybe the beast is not a curse. And in the cage, the beast did not sleep. It sat in the shadows, its golden eyes glowing, waiting not for death, but for the one who had spoken for it. For the first time in years, the beast felt it was not alone, and the human, though chained now by the council, had already started something that could not be stopped. The city itself had begun to change, and the council could feel their grip slipping. The sacrifice was no longer certain, and neither was their power. The prison yard was quiet. The only sound was the rattling of chains every time the beast moved. Torches burned on the walls, throwing long shadows across the stone floor. Guards stood far away, too afraid to get close. They whispered that the creature was restless since the human had spoken. The human sat on the ground, bruised from the beating the guards had given him, his wrists bound with rope. Yet his eyes were not broken. He kept looking at the cage, watching the beast shift in the dark. A guard sneered at him. "You're mad. Human. That thing will tear you apart. Better you die now than when the beast eats you." But even the guard's voice shook, because deep down he had seen the same thing. The way the beast looked at the human with something other than rage. The council planned to starve the beast before the sacrifice to make it weaker, easier to kill. Bowls of food once brought every day were taken away. The creature's ribs showed, its golden eyes dimmed, its growls low and heavy with hunger. The human could not watch anymore. His heart pulled tight inside his chest. He whispered to himself, "They want you weak so they can call you a monster." He leaned back against the wall, mind racing, until an idea formed. Later that night, when the guards grew lazy with drink, the human tricked one into dropping scraps of food near him. Bread, dry fruit, a piece of cooked meat. He hid it under his clothes, waiting for the chance. When the yard grew quiet, he crawled forward. The guards half asleep at their posts. The beast raised its head, the chains rattling, its golden eyes glowing faintly in the dark. The human whispered, "Easy, I won't hurt you." The guards stirred. One shouted, "Step back, human." But the man kept going, his voice calm, his movements slow. He pushed the scraps through the bars, holding them out with open hands. The beast sniffed the air, a deep growl vibrating through its chest. The guards raised their spears, ready for blood, but then the beast did not attack. It lowered its massive head, sniffed once more, and with surprising care, it took the food gently from the human's hand. Gasps came from the guards. "Impossible," one whispered. "It eats from him like a cub from its mother." The beast chewed slowly, its golden eyes fixed on the human. The human smiled faintly, whispering, "You are not a curse. You are just hungry, just like me." He pushed another piece of bread through, and again the beast accepted, not with violence but with patience. The guards trembled, unsure whether to strike or run, their fear battling their eyes, because what they saw did not match the stories they had always believed. The beast let out a low sound, deep but soft, like a rumble of thanks. It pressed its head against the bars. The chains groaned. The human lifted his hand, slowly brushing. The rough scales again, this time longer, firmer, and the beast closed its eyes, like it trusted him. The silence was heavy. Then one of the guards ran off to report. The others stayed frozen, staring in disbelief. By morning, the story spread through the city like fire. The human fed the beast. The beast ate gently. It did not kill him. People whispered in markets, in homes, even in temples. The whispers grew louder, spreading faster than the council could stop. Children asked their parents, "If it can eat without hurting, why must it die?" Workers in the fields asked each other, "What if the human is right? What if we've been lied to?" The council was furious. They called it blasphemy. They ordered guards to silence anyone who spoke of the human, but the truth had already taken root. The human was dragged before the council that day, his face bruised, but his spirit unbroken. The leader shouted, "You defy our gods, you defy us, you will die with the beast." But even in chains, the human spoke with fire. "If I die, your people will remember what they saw. No whip, no lie will erase it. They saw kindness in a creature you called cursed, and they will begin to question everything else you told them." The counselors raged, but their eyes flickered with unease. They knew the human had already won part of the battle. Back in the cage, the beast lay curled, its golden eyes glowing brighter than before, every time the human was dragged near. It lifted its head, watching, waiting, the bond between them growing stronger. The people no longer saw just a monster in chains. They saw something else. A creature that had chosen not to harm the human when it easily could have. A creature that trusted him. And trust was more dangerous to the council than teeth or claws. That night, the guards doubled in number. Torches blazed and fear wrapped the city tighter. But even fear could not kill what had been planted. The beast had tasted kindness, and the people had tasted doubt, and both would grow no matter how hard the council tried to stop it. The city was restless. By day the markets were open, the bells rang, and the guards patrolled with their spears shining in the sun. But beneath, the noise. Something deeper stirred, whispers carried through the streets like hidden rivers. Whispers about the human and the beast. In dark alleys, merchants spoke in low voices. He fed it and it did not bite, I saw with my own eyes. The beast pressed against his hand like a tamed creature. The baker's wife nodded, fear in her face but wonder in her voice. Maybe it is not cursed at all. Children repeated the story while playing, their voices high with excitement. The human touched it, the beast purred. They laughed, their parents shushing them quickly, afraid the guards might hear. The council was not blind. They saw the change. They heard the rumors, and their leader grew more furious each day. In his hall of stone he slammed his staff against the floor. If this continues, the people will lose faith. They will no longer obey. Another counselor leaned forward, his eyes sharp. Then we silence the human, we silence the beast. Once both are gone, the people will fear again. But fear was already slipping from their control. The human, locked in a dark cell, could hear the whispers even through the cracks in the stone, voices outside at night, footsteps that paused near his prison. Sometimes a slip of food passed through the bars, sometimes a quiet word, "We believe you." Hope spread like smoke, thin but impossible to contain. Meanwhile, the beast stirred, more than ever before, its golden eyes bright in the night, its chains clinking as it moved restlessly. It no longer sank into despair. It no longer waited for death. It waited for the human. It waited for the one who showed kindness. The guards grew nervous. They whispered among themselves when their captain was not near. It watches us, but not with hate. It waits for him. One night, a group of workers gathered in a tavern on the edge of the city. They spoke in hushed voices. "We cannot let the council kill them both. If the beast can be gentle, then the council lied to us for years." Another slammed his fist on the table. "But what can we do? The guards will cut us down before we even reach the cage." A young woman, her eyes sharp, spoke firmly. "Rebellion does not start with swords, it starts with truth, and truth is already spreading." Her words made them all fall silent. But the council was planning too. In the high chamber, the leader leaned close to his generals. "Tomorrow night we strike. The people must never see the human alive again. Send soldiers to his cell, kill him quietly, and say the beast devoured him. The crowd will believe. They always believe." The generals nodded, but unease flickered in their eyes because even they had heard the whispers at home. Even they had seen their families doubt. The human, sitting against the cold stone, felt the danger without being told. His instincts sharp as steel, he whispered into the dark, "They will come for me soon." Yet even with death close, he felt no fear, only resolve. That night, the beast pressed its chained body against the bars, its golden eyes fixed on the prison tower where the human was held. It let out a deep, mournful call that echoed through the streets, a sound so heavy with sorrow that even those asleep woke. Trembling, the people heard, and in their hearts, the call was not a monster's roar. It was the cry of a living being that wanted freedom. The next day, more people questioned aloud, "If it can call for him, then it thinks, then it feels. Is that a beast or something more?" The guards tried to shout them down, but their voices grew weaker, the crowd's doubt grew stronger. By nightfall, the city was a tinderbox, sparks ready to ignite. The council believed they still had control. They sharpened their knives, ordered their assassins to move. But outside, in the quiet streets, groups of citizens whispered together, their courage growing. "If they try to kill him, we will act. We will not be silent." The rebellion had not yet begun with swords, but it had begun with whispers, whispers that now spread faster than fire, and in the darkness, the human lifted his head, hearing the beast's distant cry. His lips curved into the faintest smile because he knew, even in chains, even with death near, that the people were starting to see the truth, and once the truth is seen, it cannot be unseen. The council thought they still ruled the city, but the city's heart was already slipping from their hands. The beast and the human were no longer alone. The people were beginning to choose, and the first choice they made was doubt. That single doubt was enough to shake the walls of power, enough to make rebellion inevitable. The whispers of rebellion were no longer whispers. They were turning into a voice that would soon roar. The night fell heavy over the alien city. Torches flickered on the walls. Guards marched along the streets, and the air was thick with silence that carried danger. The council had decided the human and the beast would not live to see another sunrise. In the high chamber, the council leader whispered to his assassins, "No mistakes, kill him in the cell, kill the beast in its cage. The people must wake tomorrow and find them gone. Their whispers will end when fear returns." The assassins bowed, their eyes cold, their blades hidden under their cloaks. The prison tower was quiet, the guards at the gate half asleep, trusting the thick walls to keep the human trapped. But inside, the human sat awake, his eyes sharp, his body tense. He felt it. Danger coming like a storm. Far away in the marketplace cage, the beast shifted, its golden eyes glowing brighter than the torches. It felt it too. The chains groaned as it pulled against them. Restless. Ready, midnight. Shadows slipped into the tower. The assassins moved like snakes, their footsteps silent on the stone. One raised his blade over the human sleeping form, but the human was not asleep. His hand shot up, grabbing the assassin's wrist, twisting hard. The blade clattered to the floor. The fight broke out in the dark cell. Fists, blades, blood. The human fought with the strength of survival, his body battered but his spirit fierce. He kicked one assassin into the bars, slammed another against the wall, but there were too many. Outside, the beast roared, a sound so powerful it shook the city. Walls trembled, windows cracked. The guards dropped their spears in terror. People woke in their homes hearing the roar. Children clung to their parents, whispering, "The beast is calling for him." The assassins froze for a moment, fear breaking their focus, and in that heartbeat, the human struck again, knocking one down, stealing his blade. But still the others pressed him. Chains cut his wrists. Blood ran down his arms. The beast slammed its body against the cage. The ground cracked. Dust fell from the towers. It roared again. Not in rage, but in desperation. The call of a creature trying to protect the only friend it had ever known. The people ran into the streets, torches in their hands, watching in shock as the cage shook. Some shouted, "The beast is breaking free." Others whispered, "It is saving him." Back in the cell, the human staggered, blood dripping, the assassins circling him, one raised, his blade high for the final strike. But before it could fall, the wall itself cracked, stone splitting, the beast's roar tearing through the night. Chains snapped, metal bent. The beast pulled with strength born of fury and loyalty. The cage shattered, bars falling like broken bones. The marketplace filled with dust and fire. The beast broke free, wings unfurling like shadows of night. It stormed through the city, its massive body crashing through stone, its golden eyes blazing with fire. People screamed and scattered, but none were struck. The beast ignored them, its path clear. The prison tower. The assassins turned pale as the walls shook. One shouted, "The monster is coming." Panic filled. Their faces, the human, broken and bleeding, smiled faintly, whispering, "I told you it is not your monster, it is my friend." The tower doors exploded, stone shattering. The beast crashed in, its chains hanging broken, its wings spread wide, its roar shaking the stars. The assassins fled, their courage gone. The guards outside dropped their weapons, unable to stand against such fury. The beast lowered its massive head, pressing its muzzle against the human. As if checking he still breathed, the human touched its scales weakly, whispering, "I knew you'd come." The crowd gathered at a distance, their torches glowing in the night, their voices uncertain. It saved him. It did not kill him. It came for him. The whispers grew into shouts. The council lied. The beast is not cursed. The council leader appeared on the balcony, his face pale. his voice breaking as he shouted, "Do not believe your eyes, it is a monster, it will destroy us all." But his words no longer held power. The people had seen the truth with their own eyes. The beast lifted the human gently. Onto its back, spreading its wings, the torches flickered as the crowd gasped, and with a single mighty leap it carried him into the night sky. The council leader screamed in rage, his words drowned by the roar of wings. The people stood in silence, watching the human and beast vanish into the stars. And in their silence, rebellion was born. For the first time, they questioned not only the beast's chains but their own. The council had tried to kill both. But instead, they had created something stronger, a bond of trust that no chain could ever hold. The human and the beast were now fugitives, hunted by the council, but to the people, they were something more, a spark, a symbol, a story that would spread far beyond the city walls, and the night of the midnight attack would be remembered forever, not as the night of death, but the night hope broke free. The forest outside the alien city was endless and dark. Trees twisted high like claws, their roots crawling over the ground. The wind howled through the branches, carrying the scent of danger. But in the shadows of those trees, the beast and the human found refuge. The beast landed heavily, its wings. Folding close, the human slid weakly from its back. His body battered from the fight. Blood marking his clothes, he collapsed onto the mossy ground, breathing hard. The beast lowered its massive head, nudging him gently, its golden eyes glowing. With worry, it growled softly, not the roar of a monster, but the low sound of concern. The human coughed, laughing weakly. "You're worried for me," he whispered, his hand brushing over its rough scales. The beast stayed close, shielding him with its wings, watching the forest with sharp eyes. It did not sleep. It did not eat. It guarded him through the night as if he was the most precious thing in the world. By morning, the human sat up slowly, his wounds stiff, but his spirit strong. He touched the beast's snout again, this time with more strength. "We're alike, aren't we?" he said softly. "Both chained, both called dangerous, both hated for no reason." The beast tilted its head, as if it understood, and then, in a moment that made the human's heart tighten, it lowered its head fully, bowing to him. Trust, real trust, had formed between them, not by force, not by fear, but by kindness. But peace could not last. The council had already sent hunters, far across the forest. Horns echoed, sharp and angry. Squads of armored riders moved quickly, their weapons glowing, their beasts of war sniffing the air for a trail. "Find them," barked the captain. "The council demands their heads." The human and the beast heard the sound from miles away. The human stood quickly, though pain burned through his body. "They're coming for us," he said, his voice steady. He looked at the beast. "But we're not alone anymore. We fight. Together." The beast rumbled in agreement, spreading its wings wide, ready. They traveled deeper into the wilderness, moving through rivers, mountains, and caves. The human scavenged berries, roots, and herbs, feeding the beast when he could. The beast hunted too, bringing down prey with care, always saving a portion for the human. At night, the human told stories by the fire, tales of his homeworld, tales of skies filled with stars, tales of animals who had once been feared but later became friends. The beast listened, its golden eyes reflecting the flames, its tail curling close around him like a shield. The bond between them grew stronger each day. One evening, they found an abandoned ruin deep in the forest. Walls covered in moss, carvings on stone that glowed faintly. The human touched the marks, his eyes wide. "This was once your kind's home," he whispered. The beast growled low, its head lowering in sorrow. The truth came to him then. The beast was not just an animal. It was the last of a hunted race, a race betrayed by the council long ago. The human clenched his fists, anger burning. "They called you cursed to hide their crime," he said. "They destroyed your people and chained you so no one would ever know." The beast let out a mournful roar that echoed through the ruins, the sound shaking the stones. The human placed his hand against its scales. "You're not cursed, you're the proof of their lies." But danger was close. The hunters had tracked them, their war beasts sniffing the air, their horns blaring. The captain shouted, "Surround them, do not. Let them escape." The human and the beast stood side by side in the ruins. The hunters circled, weapons glowing, arrows aimed. The captain raised his sword. "Surrender, human, and we may spare your life. But the beast dies tonight." The human laughed coldly, his hand resting on the beast's scales. "I'd rather die with it than live with your lies." The beast roared, fire and fury blazing in its chest, its wings spread wide. The hunters' mounts reared in fear. Some soldiers hesitated, whispering to each other, "It does not attack the human. It fights for him." The battle exploded. Arrows flew, blades clashed. The beast struck down riders with its tail, crushed weapons under its claws. The human fought fiercely with stolen blades, darting between the chaos, every move precise, every strike desperate. Together they moved like one, the human covering the beast's weak points, the beast shielding him with its wings. The hunters fell one by one, their cries echoing through the night. When it was over, the ground was littered with broken weapons and shattered armor. The few survivors fled in terror, shouting, "It cannot be killed." The beast and the human fight as one. The human leaned against the beast, exhausted but alive. The beast lowered its head, pressing gently against him. The bond of trust had been sealed in blood and fire. From that day on, they were no longer just fugitives. They were legends whispered across villages and towns. The human and the beast, they fight together. They protect each other. The council raged, but no matter how many hunters they sent, the story spread faster, the truth growing stronger. The bond of trust between one man and one beast was shaking the power of an empire, and it was only the beginning. The alien city was restless again. The council tried to tighten its grip. Guards filled the streets. Banners of the gods were hung higher, and drums of war beat through the night. But the people were no longer the same. Their eyes carried doubt. Their whispers carried fire everywhere. The story of the human and the beast spread. Farmers in the fields spoke of the battle in the forest. Merchants repeated tales of the bond they had seen. Children pretended to ride invisible wings, shouting, "The beast is not cursed." The council tried to silence them, but truth was a river now, impossible to stop. The human and the beast returned, not sneaking, not hiding, but walking boldly toward the city gates. The guards trembled at the sight. The beast's golden eyes burned like suns, its wings stretched wide. The human sat on its back, bloodied but unbroken. The bells rang in alarm. The council rushed to the balcony. Their leader raised his staff, shouting, "Do not be fooled, it is a trick. The beast is still cursed. The human is dangerous, kill them both." But his words shook with fear. The people gathered in the plaza, filling the streets. They watched as the beast landed in the square, its wings folding, its massive body crouching low. But it did not roar. It did not strike. It bowed its head, lowering the human gently onto the stones. The human stood, his body scarred, his clothes torn, but his voice steady. "You see with your own eyes," he shouted. "I am alive. I am not cursed. This creature has not killed me. It saved me. It fought for me. It trusts me. And I trust it." The crowd gasped as the beast pressed its head against him like a loyal friend, not a monster. The whispers turned into voices. "It bows to him. It protects him. It is not cursed." The council leader slammed his staff, screaming, "Lies, all lies, do not believe, kill them now." He pointed to the guards, but the guards hesitated, their hands shaking. Some lowered their weapons, some even stepped back. The human raised his hand, pointing not at the beast but at the council. "They lied to you for years. They told you fear was truth. They told you chains were safety. But look, do you see fear here? Do you see death? No, you see trust, you see loyalty, and you see their lies breaking apart." The beast roared, but not with fury. It was a roar that shook the stones, a roar that sounded like freedom. The people trembled, but then they cheered louder and louder. The council lied. The beast lives. The human speaks truth. The leader shouted again, "Guards, kill them. Kill the traitors." But the guards no longer moved, their eyes full of doubt. their hearts pulled by the crowd's voice. One soldier dropped his spear, then another and another. The sound of weapons hitting the ground echoed like thunder. The people surged forward, no longer afraid. They pointed their fingers at the council, shouting, "You lied to us, you chained the innocent, you betrayed us." The councilors backed away, pale and shaking, their power crumbling before their eyes. The human stood tall, his voice rising, above the chaos. "The choice is yours, not mine, not the council's. Yours. Will you live in fear or will you stand in truth?" The beast lowered its wings, spreading them wide as if sheltering the people, its golden eyes glowing with warmth. The crowd erupted, their voices one. "No more fear, no more lies, we choose truth." The council leader tried one last time, his voice breaking. "The gods will curse you all." But no one listened. The people turned their backs on him. Guards dragged him down from the balcony, his staff breaking against the stones. The plaza thundered with cheers, torches raised high. Voices calling not for sacrifice but for freedom. The human placed his hand on the beast's head, whispering softly, "It is over. They see you now. Not as a curse, but as what you truly are." The beast rumbled low, pressing against him, its trust complete. From that day on, the city changed. Chains were broken, fear was cast aside. The beast was no longer a prisoner. It became a guardian, standing watch over the city, not with chains, but with trust. And the human, once a stranger, became a symbol. The one who saw truth where others saw only fear. The one who defied lies and gave hope back to the people. Legends grew. Stories spread beyond the walls, to distant lands. The human who fed, the beast. The beast who bowed to the human. Together they broke an empire's lies. The night of sacrifice was never held. The cage in the plaza remained empty, a reminder of what once was. The people called it not the cage of a beast, but the cage of their fear. And whenever the beast soared above the city, wings spread wide. Against the sun, the people looked up not with terror but with pride, knowing they had chosen truth. The choice of the people had changed everything, and it could never be undone.